Everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to our meeting of the Health, Education, Neighborhoods, Parks, Arcs, and River Committee. We have a very full house today. Sorry we couldn't get the larger room downstairs. It's a little bit after 1, and we are in City Hall, room 1060, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. And I want to remind everybody in the audience that if anyone wants to speak on any of the items today, or if you want to do a general public comment, to please sign up right at the kiosk right outside the door. It's an electronic kiosk. Please sign up if you want to speak, okay? So I'm going to open it up for general public comment at this time.
We're going to do multiple first, but there isn't any multiple.
Oh, there's no multiple at all?
So if you just
Yeah. I'll just do general public comment first. It's not showing up. There we go. So I'm going to take general public comment at this time. There are 7 people signed up. I will give you guys 2 minutes each, okay, for general public comment. Gelzi Padilla, it's going to followed by Helicia Guerrero and Lydia Lee. You guys want to come on up? Are you here? Gelzi Padilla, Helicia Guerrero, and Lydia Lee. Come on up. If you could state your name.
Hilcia Guerra. Good afternoon. My name is Hilcia Guerra, and I work here in Los Angeles. I want to educate the council members that communities of color smoke more menthol cigarettes because of the disproportionate advertising to these groups. Furthermore, in February 2019, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that among high school students, the use of tobacco products has increased by 38% from 2017 to 2018. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I'm going to call up Harrison, Hugh Augustine, and Juana Balderas. If you guys could come on up and sit down. Keep Gelzi. Don't erase Lydia. I'll go back to him one more time at the very end. If you could state your name and you could speak.
I'm Hugh Augustine. I'm a resident of Los Angeles, and I want to talk to you guys about the ban of menthol cigarettes. I think that we can all agree that like keeping kids from smoking is important, right? But banning menthols isn't like targeting the type of tobacco that kids are smoking. Most days now, kids are smoking like these vape pens, these Juuls, and stuff like that. So I think that with the ban of menthols, you're actually going to be targeting like specific communities of color, and I think that's something that we definitely don't need to be doing, especially at this time. African Americans of African American community that smoke cigarettes, 80% smoke menthol cigarettes. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that statistic. So I think you guys should reconsider moving forward with the ban of menthols.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm Harrison Augustine. I'm here for the Menthol Band. And I think prohibiting the menthol flavoring in the cigarettes in general is it's kind of crazy. It's kind of a crazy ban just because, like what he said, a lot of African American communities mostly smoke menthols. If it's not somebody my age, it's somebody a lot older. My grandmother used to smoke menthols a lot, and it just doesn't make sense why you're going to ban the flavoring of menthols. If you're going to do that, you might as well ban cigarettes in general or smoking in general. Because right now what I'm hearing is you're trying to ban it so that the kids don't consume it, but kids are more inclined to smoking something that's going to be flavored towards their knowledge, like something like cotton candy, strawberry, or anything like that. Menthol is not something that they're going to be keen to doing because it's something that somebody of an older generation is inclined to smoking. It just seems like you're targeting the minorities, like minority communities, as opposed to just the whole smoking aspect in general and the health concerns. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let the record reflect that we've been joined by Councilmember Curran Price. Are you Lydia Lee? Okay, if you hold on. I'm going to also call up Juana Balderas, Adelina Mendez. Adelina Mendez, if you guys could come on up. And Lydia, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Lydia Leasing. I work with Koreatown Youth and Community Center. So it's a community organization servicing children and families in Koreatown. I believe that the youth smoking epidemic is very real in this neighborhood. The numbers show that Korean American smoking rate in this community is 20% compared to the citywide rate of 12%. So this goes to show that with the current level of tobacco access, there's actually not enough being done to achieve health equity in our communities. So I just wanted to inform the council members of this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Chelsea Padilla. I was also previously called. I would just like to inform the council that between 2017 and 2018, the percentage of high school students who use tobacco increased by 38%, and these numbers are still on the rise. It is estimated now that every day 200 children are becoming addicted to tobacco in California. I don't believe that this is a problem. Personally, I believe that this is an epidemic. That's all I'd like to share.
Thank you. If I could have Michael Troy, Juana Balderas, and Adelina Mendez. Are they here? Michael Troy? Last call, Michael Troy. Oh, he's outside? He's coming in? Michael Troy, oh, and are you... What's your name?
Juana.
Oh, please sit, yeah. Juana Balderas, sit, and Adelina Mendez, and Michael Troy. And you could start.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Juana.
Do we have a translator here?
Y,
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
yo vivo en Los Ángeles y yo me preocupo cuando veo tantos niños fumando en mi vecindario y como mi comunidad se está volviendo insegura y peligrosa para mis hijos. No quiero que mis hijos crezcan en este tipo de vecindario.
Okay, un momento.
Ya.
Translación, por favor.
She said, "Good afternoon. My name is Juana, and I live in Los Angeles. I worry when I see so many children smoking in my neighborhood now and how my community is becoming unsafe for my kids. I don't want my kids to grow up in this kind of neighborhood." Continúa.
Y quiero mis hijos y quiero que mis hijos crezcan en este no crezcan en este ambiente de vecindario. Quiero que los concejales sepan que esto es un problema. Muchas gracias por su tiempo. Pues si voy a leer también el otro.
No.
Okay.
Okay, hold. Go ahead.
Yeah.
She said, and again, I repeat, I don't want my kids to grow up in this kind of neighborhood. I want the council members to know that this is an issue in our community. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Sí, pues la verdad nosotros somos un grupo así de la comunidad también, entonces nos preocupa mucho porque las mamás están muy preocupadas por la situación, lo que está pasando con la juventud, y eso es lo que nosotros no queremos. Y estamos, pues no sé cómo abogar para que esto tenga más refuerzo y apoyo para la comunidad. Y sobre todo, pues, yo en mi caso tengo nietos y sí, me preocupa mucho por ellos.
She said that they both are part of a community organization group called Madres que Luchan, and so her biggest concern is that she has grandchildren who are part of this community, who are growing up in the community, and she fears for them, for their safety and for their health.
Gracias.
Gracias por escucharnos.
Thank you. And your name was, for the record?
Mi nombre es Adelina.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Michael Troy, and last call for Helicia Guerra. I think she spoke already, right? Guerra? No. Helicia Guerra. Yeah, actually, she did speak already. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Troy. I'm the Rising Chief Resident of Internal Medicine and Pediatrics at the UCLA Health Center. I'm here to speak in favor of the proposed flavored tobacco ban. We have seen a dramatic increase in the use of flavored vape products among teens. It rose roughly 600% in between the calendar years 2016 and 2017. This is going to be the next large drug epidemic in the U.S. Nicotine is a toxic, poisonous, addictive substance. Menthol cigarettes use is on the rise, and tobacco companies, in addition to investing in these new vape products, are engaged in extremely targeted marketing among communities of color who are more likely to use these products. They're extremely addictive. I think we have all been personally affected by friends or family members who have suffered the long and short-term effects of tobacco use, and I strongly oppose a ban. Thank you.
Thank you. That closes general public comment. Last call for general public comment. Thank you. So, colleagues, moving on to the agenda, we received a request. Well, you have to sign up, but actually, if you want to speak on item number 1, you can sign up for item number 1 as well. You did sign up. Yes. So we'll call you for item number 1. Colleagues, we received a request from Council District 3 to amend item number 10 to replace the motion's language to read, implement a 1-year biweekly cyber literacy pilot program with changing it to implement a 1-year quarterly cyber literacy program. And 2, to also instruct LAPD to work with the library department to identify appropriate library space and any other logistical requirements for the implementation of the cyber literacy pilot program. If there's no objections, then we'll move it ahead as amended.
Councilman, shouldn't we read this into the record?
Oh, please, thank you.
Sure. Item number 10, motion Blumenfield Busciano, relative to instructing the Los Angeles Police Department Cyber Crimes Unit and the Los Angeles Public Library to implement a cyber literacy pilot program in Council District 3.
Great. So if we could amend the instructions as read, and with no objections, we'll move this. And also, colleagues, I'd like to go ahead and take all of the items on consent except for items 1 and 3. That's okay with you guys?
No objection. Okay.
Thank you. That'll be the order. And I'm actually going to move item number, I know everyone's here for item number 1, but I want to hear item number 3 really quickly, if that's okay with you guys, members. Daryl, can you read that into the record, item number 3?
Item number 3, Recreation and Park Report relative to the National Recreation and Parks Association 10-minute walk planning grant and technical assistance.
Okay. Thank you. I think we have RAP staff, Recreation and Parks. Are you guys in the back? Oh, great. Come on up. Thank you for coming today. And I just pulled this out because I was very, very interested in this. Can you give us a quick, brief overview of what it means about the 10-minute walk planning grant?
The 10-minute walk, I'm sorry, my name is Melinda Geyer. I'm a planning associate with the Department of Recreation and Parks. The 10-minute grant was a grant awarded from the NRPA, TPL, and ULI, Urban Land Institute, to they have a nationwide program to foster the 10-minute walk ideal, and Los Angeles was one of this is the second cohort of cities to receive the grant. It's a $40,000 grant, and it is intended to primarily for staff development and to increase our capacity as a department and as a city to get the word out about the 10-minute walk ideal and promote the importance of it, really, in terms of having the 10-minute walk. The 10-minute walk, just in general, is kind of the new metric for open space access. It used to be so many acres per thousand, and it just turns out that everyone needs access to open space, and to have it within a 10-minute walk makes it available to everyone. And so the department has adopted those ideals. The mayor has incorporated them already in his sustainability plan, and I understand those metrics are being updated, and so this grant is a way to assist our departments and assist the city in achieving some fairly lofty goals.
That's great. the goal of having an access to a green space or park within 10 minutes of your home, that's a spectacular goal, and I'm very much excited about us getting this grant, and I really look forward to seeing what you guys come up with that. And clearly, we're very park poor. Some areas have more parks than others, but even in those areas, everyone, if you talk to any resident, they'll tell you that there's lack of green space and they need more parks. So, and clearly the challenge is trying to identify suitable space, especially in Los Angeles where space is very poor, and purchasing the land. But has the department looked into, or will your study include looking into LAUSD sites as a potential joint use agreement?
The department has been working on, the answer is yes. The short answer is yes, of course. Joint use has been identified as one tool in a large toolkit of ways to expand our access to open space, largely in park poor areas. We have entered into some joint use agreements already. We are in search of a master joint use agreement, but that has proved challenging, just in the kind of bureaucratic setup between the city and LAUSD, but it is certainly identified as a goal that we've been working towards.
That's great. Members, have any questions?
No.
Yeah. Well, thank you so very much. I'm going to have, we want to approve the RAP board report today. That was dated February 26, 2019, and authorize RAP to accept the grant. And we're going to note and file the RAP report dated February 27, 2019. Colleagues, any objections?
No objections.
Then so ordered. Thank you so very much. Now, moving along to item number 1. Mr. CLA, if you could read that into the record.
Sure. Item number 1, motion O'Farrell, Blumenfield, Harris, Dawson, Price, Rodriguez, relative to a proposed strategy to restrict the sale of flavored tobacco products to youth and young adults, and report on the ways and means of how other cities are addressing this issue.
Thank you. I'm going to take the many people who've signed up for this item. I'm going to call 3 at a time, and we're going to provide a minute each for your testimony. Terry Blevins, Cheryl Dorsey, and Yvette McDonald. If you guys could come on up. And you could start. If you could state your name first.
Members of the council, my name is Terry Blevins. Thank you for the opportunity to submit testimony. My name is Terry Blevins. I was a police officer for 12 years, and I'm a representative of Law Enforcement Action Partnership, nonprofit of law enforcement officers working to improve the criminal justice system. I'm also a resident and business owner in Los Angeles. While I applaud the committee's intention to trying to improve the health of young people, my concern with this legislation is that it's not going to eliminate the market for menthol cigarettes, and enforcing this law will waste precious police time and resources, impacting our ability to solve and prevent more serious crimes.
Thank you. If you could state your name first. Yeah.
My name is Cheryl Dorsey, and I'm a member of the Law Enforcement Action Partners. As an honorably retired veteran sergeant in the Los Angeles Police Department, having spent my entire 20-year career in patrol as an officer and a supervisor, I know firsthand the culture. My lived and professional experiences form the basis for my opposition to the criminalization of menthol tobacco. This ban would disproportionately affect black and brown folks who are the majority users of menthol tobacco. A ban on menthol tobacco would create additional opportunities for some police officers to exacerbate an already contentious relationship between police and marginalized communities of color under the guise of pretext stops. The LA Times recently reported more than 90% of drivers pulled over for pretextual stops, which is a minor infraction such as a broken tail light, by the LAPD's Metropolitan Division to have been black and Latino. This abuse has prompted an audit request by Mayor Garcetti of the Inspector General, which has been referred to as stop and frisk in a car, giving officers even more reason to detain and engage on the basis of a menthol tobacco ban would assuredly lead to encounters that are likely to escalate to unnecessary uses of force, arrest, and possibly deadly force. As a police supervisor, I see the potential for abuse, and I oppose the ban.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the council, staff. Yvette McDowell with Law Enforcement Action Partnership. As a retired assistant city prosecutor and member of the Law Enforcement Action Partnership, I'm very concerned about the unintended consequences of arrest for possessing or selling menthol cigarettes by people of color if this measure were to pass. Increasing enforcement efforts for menthol cigarettes will lead to broader problems with long-term negative effects while not stopping kids from smoking. I support public health efforts, but over the years I've seen too many arrests and prosecutions for minor offenses. This leads to entry into the criminal justice system, which opens the door to a discriminatory impact in communities of color. For example, conviction and arrest records can lead to not being able to get a job, student loans, housing, and public benefits. All of these things can make it more likely that young people unable to support themselves will be forced into crime. It's time to change aggressive enforcement efforts in the approach to curtail menthol use in teens and adults, and instead invest in education and prevention.
Thank you. If I could have Reverend Tulos, Reverend William Smart, and Elder Joe Paul. How are you, sir?
Good morning, my friends. I'm
You
Pastor
call Reverend Tulis first, right?
Well,
It doesn't
Thank you.
matter.
I sat down first.
It doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Reverend K.W. Tulis, President of the Baptist Ministers Conference. We're here out of concern of this flavor tobacco ban. Ultimately, again, profiling does exist in our community, as was stated in the previous reports of the LA Times. We are against any type of ban against tobacco, flavored tobacco, on the basis of 80% of African Americans do take on flavored tobacco. We want to make sure that we are in support of more educational options for our young people. We would like for our young people to have more educational options against why they should not smoke or use these products. Ultimately, a ban will lead to, again, more of incarceration. We are in more of line of more education. So we are concerned of the unattended consequences of a ban that will happen. So we're asking again, no ban. And we want to submit a letter on behalf of the Baptist Ministers Conference and also letters from Pride and Promote.
Pastor William Smart, President and CEO of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference of Southern California. We too believe that this ban is, for us, based on what the other speakers have said, it's a civil rights issue of African Americans, Latinos, that we're cutting something from them. And in fact, two other people have said this word, unintended consequences. A lot of times these communities get trapped in unintended consequences. It will create more interaction with the police. It will create more judicial problems for them. And just this, and you're taking away grandma's menthol. And that is a problem. That's all I'll say.
Good afternoon. I'm Elder Joe Paul. I'm here on behalf of Bishop Noel Jones, City of Refuge Church. We have an approximate congregation of about 17,000 members. A large majority of our people come from CD 9, 8, and 15, and we feel that not speaking or addressing this issue around a specific element of the menthol ban, that obviously, with all the information that's been shared already, targets disproportionately African Americans or people of color. It's just not a well thought out piece of legislation as far as its collateral consequences. And watching what has happened at the county jail already, where we've criminalized mental health and turned our county jails into one of the largest mental health facilities in this country, this is another type of legislation that's going to impact people with negative consequences that could have been avoided.
Thank you.
Here's SCLC's statement.
Great. And then clerk or the city attorney could take that. I'm going to call Jamie Rojas, Hugh Augustine, and Monty Messick. Yeah. Jamie Rojas, Hugh Augustine, and Monty Messick. If you guys could come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Jaime Rojas, and I'm with the National Association of Tobacco Outlets. I want to thank you again, Chairman Rue, for meeting with KGRO, APCA, and NATO yesterday to hear from our retailers on possible solutions and how we'll be negatively impacted by proposed flavor ban. LA City retailers have a 95% compliance rate and a factual testament that retailers are not the problem for youth accessing flavored tobacco products. Many of our members from various California cities, including San Francisco and Oakland, are dealing right now with unintended consequences on these flavor bans. These bans have created a robust illicit market, increased online sales, and shifted tobacco sales to other municipalities, thus not stopping youth from accessing these products, but giving them other platforms to purchase without anyone checking their IDs. Let the retail community be part of the solution, and we're asking respectfully for the committee for the following items: to request a CLA for a fiscal impact analysis on this proposed ban, similar to San Francisco, and establish a retailer working group comprised of retailers and staff to discuss proposed strategies to restrict access to tobacco-flavored products. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you. Could you state your name?
Honorable Chair Rue and council members, my name is Monty Messick. I work for the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health Tobacco Control and Prevention Program. I'm here today to provide information about youth access to flavored tobacco products and the harms of tobacco use. Flavored tobacco products are driving youth experimentation. More than 80% of youth who ever used tobacco products reported their first product was flavored. Both the FDA and the U.S. Surgeon General have warned that flavored tobacco products such as electronic smoking devices, e-cigarettes, mods, and pods, little cigars, and mentholated cigarettes help new users establish habits that can lead to long-term addiction. Recently, the U.S. Surgeon General declared e-cigarette use among youth an epidemic and called for aggressive steps to protect our children from these highly potent products that risk exposing a new generation of young people to nicotine. According to a recent CDC report, about 4.9 million middle and high school students were current users of some type of tobacco product in 2008, up from 3.6 million in 2017. Thank you for your time, and I also provided a packet of information to the clerk for
Thank you.
all
We'll
the
pass
council
that
members.
along to all the members.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to call Benjamin Seligman, Hugh Augustine, and Amanda Staples. Staples, yeah. State your name.
Thank you. I'm Benjamin Seligman. I am a resident physician in internal medicine at UCLA. My work as an internist to take care of adults, a big chunk of my work is around the long-term consequences of tobacco use and its ultimate negative health outcomes. These health outcomes begin primarily in teenage years when people first begin to use tobacco products. And down the line, I see the heart disease, the cancers, the lung disease that stem from that. Flavored nicotine products serve primarily to get a new generation of young people addicted to these products so that they then become ill in later years in life when they might otherwise be able to enjoy them. And a flavor ban will do substantial work to improve the health of people for LA in the future. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, Council members. Amanda Staples with American Heart Association, here in support of O'Farrell's motion to restrict the sale of flavored tobacco products to youth. The easy availability of menthol cigarettes, flavored cigars, flavored e-cigarette candy-like flavors is causing an increase in youth tobacco use of epic proportion. With their colorful packaging and sweet candy flavors, today's flavored tobacco products are often hard to distinguish from the candy displays near which they are frequently placed in retail outlets. Menthol cigarettes are heavily marketed to African American smokers, 85% of whom use menthol products. Menthol is also popular with Latinos, 45% of whom use menthol products. Because menthol products produce a cooling and soothing effect, and because candy-flavored tobacco products are more attractive to kids, they are considered good starter products for youth and other inexperienced tobacco users. Far too many people, more than half of all youth and young adult smokers, now smoke menthol cigarettes. And that's my time. Thank you.
I'm sorry, where were you from?
American Heart Association.
American Heart Association.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Hugh Augustine, and I just wanted to comment quickly on the idea of making it illegal to sell menthol cigarettes in the city. I think that we can all agree that keeping kids from smoking is important, but we should be targeting what kids are actually using. I know that vaping is becoming very popular with all these different flavors. Like I've seen creme brulee flavored vape pens and stuff like that. So I think that making it hard for kids to get cigarettes is important, but we shouldn't be banning products that are popular in like communities of color, and I feel like this ban is targeting the African American community specifically, and it's not fair. And I think that we should be doing something to help keep these products away from kids, but I think that banning menthols isn't the right way to go about it.
Thank you. If I could get Dr. Justin Miyamoto, John Yi, and Yaneth Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Dr. Justin Miyamoto. I'm a Kaiser Permanente pediatrician, a public health advocate, but today I'm providing testimony as a private citizen. My practice serves the populations of West Adams, Mid-City, Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw, Palms, and Inglewood. Flavored tobacco products have the potential to addict a new generation of youth to nicotine. This has been studied in Los Angeles among high school students who've ever used flavored tobacco products or e-cigarettes. They were much more likely to report initiation of traditional cigarettes later, or combustible tobacco products. Nationally, this has also been studied. Prior use of e-cigarettes was associated with more than 4 times the odds of eventually using combustible tobacco products in 12 to 15-year-olds. Flavoring agents increase the appeal of tobacco products to youth. These products have been shown to be disproportionately used by young people, especially teenagers, as menthol and other flavors make it easier to start using tobacco and nicotine. Effective public policy measures are essential to protecting children's health. I applaud the committee's efforts, and by eliminating these products from Los Angeles, for youth, we have the chance to improve the health of future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. John, how are you?
Chairman Rue, members of the committee, my name is John Yi. I'm the Advocacy Director for the American Lung Association. I'm here to show our strong support for the city's efforts to combat the sale of flavored tobacco and youth products. You know, the real reason why we do the work that we do is because we're against a tremendous odds when it comes to a well-funded industry, both recent and of old, and that continues to grow and muscle its way into our children's hands. You know, the e-cigarette industry alone its entire business model is actually based on flavored products, and it's projected to be a $4 billion industry by 2023. You know, as many of you may know the company Juul, an e-cigarette brand that's incredibly popular amongst youth. Within 3 short years, this company has taken over 75% of the entire e-cigarette industry. So just to show the power of these devices and how popular they are. And so today, we're here to support this policy. This is the way we can protect our children's lungs, make sure our communities are not targeted by these industries, and we hope we can be a partner with you all along this way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yaneth Rodriguez, and I'm a citizen of Los Angeles. I live in District 9 in Karen Price's district, and I'm a big public health advocate, and I truly believe that we need to do more to protect our youth. And many folks have been talking about unintended consequences and that this is a civil rights issue. I want to remind you that the tobacco industry has targeted communities of color with millions and billions of dollars. This is a social justice issue, and we need to do something in the city about it. And by banning these flavors, it would reduce the access to youth, and it would, eliminate. It would actually increase health equity in the city, in my opinion. So I fully support this ban of flavored and menthol tobacco products, and I think this is moving in the right direction for the city, for the youth, to protect our youth and communities of color in general.
Thank you. If I could have Harrison Augustine, Darwin Dantzler, and Larry Williams. Come on up. Harrison Augustine, Darwin Dantzler, and Larry Williams. And you could state your name and start.
I'm Darwin Dantzler. I just wanted to say that pretty much against the
into the mic.
pretty much against the ban. It's not going to bridge the gap between the people that live in the community and the police. It's just going to, it's a little counterproductive. That's it.
Thank you.
My name is Larry Williams, and I want to make I oppose to the ban on menthol cigarettes. I'm a 58-year-old male black. Smoked menthol cigarettes over 40 years, right? You know, if you take away menthol cigarettes, I'm scared what it might do to me, right, personally, right? Because, the same thing, it's anything else. If you take something away, so you're going to find a way to get it. On the other side of that, our communities, I think, with law enforcement now, is getting better than it was then. And if you take away menthol cigarettes, all you're going to do is turn that around. It's going to turn that all the way around. So I oppose to the ban on menthol cigarettes.
Thank you, sir. If I could have Sabrina Cooper, Sherry Sanders, and last call for Harrison Augustine. I think he already spoke.
Hi, my name is Sabrina Cooper, and I'm a member of Community Current Price. And I wanted to say that I'm against the ban of menthol cigarettes. I smoke my menthol. I love my menthol. And it's more than, you guys can do better than just focusing on the menthol. It's other stuff out here that you can focus on to study the menthol cigarettes. It's my choice. It's the community's choice. It's no one's choice. If I want to smoke, let me smoke.
Thank you. Sherry Sanders, Gregory Conley, and Money Samra. State your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Gregory Conley, and I run a nonprofit health advocacy organization called the American Vaping Association, which advocates for sensible regulatory policies to maximize the number of adult smokers that use these smoke-free products to quit smoking and improve their health. We'd like to urge you to reject this item unless and until there is engagement with stakeholders in the community, both retailers and the consumers, as well as an economic impact report, because every vape shop in this city will close if this goes through. Over 90% of sales are flavored products that would be banned. Flavors do not exist in these products to hook youth. I myself was only able to quit once I had access to a watermelon product. There are multiple studies cited in data that I submitted to the committee showing that users of flavored products are more likely to become smoke-free than those using tobacco products. So there are several 100,000 people in LA that still smoke, and this city council wants to take away the alternatives that can help them quit. That, to me, is a social justice issue. Thank you.
So before we have Money speak, J.J. Jenkins, if you could come on up. Go ahead. Go ahead. State your name.
Money Samra with APCA. We represent 1,600 mom and pop operators in the state of California. As retailers, we have friends and family in San Francisco, Oakland, San Leandro, and other cities that have passed flavor bans. We can tell you that flavor bans have been devastating to small businesses and have created a robust black market for menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars. We can also tell you that in every community that has passed a flavor ban, that the retail community has been ignored and elected officials have dismissed their concerns. We believe Los Angeles can and must do better. The majority of the businesses that will be impacted are minority-owned small businesses. Public hearings and public testimony do not allow for an exchange of information and ideas, and by the time hearings are held, our experience has been that it is too late to address concerns of the small business community. You give us 1 minute today. That's an example of this. There are fiscal impacts to the city and to the licensees that must be examined prior to moving forward. Neither health department nor city attorney has the expertise to undertake this type of analysis. The CLA must and should be directed to analyze the fiscal impact that a flavored tobacco ban would have on existing businesses and the city's finances. In San Francisco, the budget analysts estimated a $50 million impact. We believe the impact in LA will be much greater. It makes no sense to us that the city would seek to, excuse me, council member, with all due respect, I'm representing 1,600 retailers. I ask for 30 more seconds. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I
It makes
can't
no
give you
sense
30
to us
more
that
seconds.
the
I have
city
to be
would seek
fair to
ban
everybody in the audience.
Okay, I'll close this up.
Thank
I'll
you.
wrap it up.
If we cut off his mic.
Store owners are not the problem. We are the front line of defense.
Thank you, Money.
We are the solution.
Thank you.
Stop making it look like we're the bad people selling to youth.
If we
We're
could-
not doing
Sir,
it.
you're disrupting the meeting now.
Councilmember O'Farrell, I'm
Thank-
still waiting for a meeting, man. We haven't been able to set it up yet.
Thank you. If you could go ahead.
I feel his frustration, but I'll try and be a little more calm about it. Okay. My name is J.J. Jenkins. I opened the first vape shop in the world here in Los Angeles in 2010. I have a 9-year track record of helping adult smokers quit smoking cigarettes, and that's with flavored vapor products. It's very important in the category to have flavored vapor products. I'm here with a 9-year perfect track record of age compliance checks, and I'm here to share my knowledge on, there's 2 ideas I have that can help the youth problem that you're facing here in Los Angeles. The first is I've been successful because I'm an age-restricted environment. I'm 21 and up access. It's very obvious if you're under 21 in my establishment. I have a 42-year-old average age Los Angelino client. 42 years old, meaning half of my clients are over 42 years old. I have tens of thousands of LA clients. So let's have age restriction shops be allowed to sell flavored vapor products. And second is labeling What do we sell on our shelves? We would like guidance. Show us what we can sell. Flavored products shouldn't look like candy. It should look like tobacco products for adults. If you could give us clear-cut labeling requirements, we would sell those.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Choose wisely, please.
And just to let everyone know, I have to be fair to everybody in the audience. We have about 40 speakers signed up, and everyone gets exactly a minute. I am, for those at the tail end, letting you finish up, but I have to be fair for everyone because we have to be consistent in our rules. Next, we're almost done. We have about 13 more speakers. I'm going to call Elia Baida, Salem Garir, sorry if I got that wrong, and Cal Mograbi. Elia Badia, Salem Garir, and Cal Mograbi. State your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Eli Beda. I'm a resident of LA. I'm a small business owner. My business will have the hardest impact if this ban was to go through. I will literally have to shut my doors down and close up and myself become homeless. I'm a father of two, and I'm the main provider for this family. I've owned my business for 12 years. I have complied with every law and ordinance that Los Angeles have. I have proofs of letters sent to me by Tobacco Prevention Control and police officers doing sting operations that we have passed. We only retail to 21 and over. This flavor ban will definitely kill my business. I found it weird that on the agenda you guys don't have anything that has to impact the community. I'm here to tell you that I will be homeless. If that's the case, go ahead and count me in the budget for the homeless, but do not pass this flavor ban because it is not just. Given the specific time, the 1 minute that I have, I cannot explain to you guys everything that goes through or how I was able to shift my clients to stop smoking to vaping. I will be seeking a meeting with every single one of you to explain myself because I would like the opportunity of
Thank
me
you.
not to lose my business. I
Thank
appreciate you.
And thank you so much for coming and speaking. And just let the audience know, you can also submit your, you can correspond by also sending us an email or sending a letter to our office as well. So just wanted you to know.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Salem Greer. I'll make it very simple. The ban on flavor will not stop youth from getting the product. All it will do, increase black market tobacco. From one state to another, from one city to another, it does not make any sense at all. An 18-year-old could go buy marijuana without even needing to furnish an ID. To buy tobacco, he needs an ID. We will never be able to sell him unless he has an ID and he's 21 years of age. So honestly, it will have a major impact on the industry, on businesses, families, employees. We have a lot to lose in this. You have to have our families in consideration too. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could have Nikita Edwards Jackson, Tomas Torices, and Carlos Leon. Come on up, Neka Edwards Jackson, Tomas Torices, and Carlos Leon.
NECA is on the... Oh, here you are.
Hi, my name is Dr. Nika Edwards Jackson. I'm a pediatrician who works at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. I'm here speaking on behalf of the California Chapter 2 of the American Academy of Pediatrics, an organization that represents over 1,500 pediatricians across 7 counties in Southern California, including Los Angeles County. The U.S. Surgeon General has declared an epidemic of teenage vaping. 1 in 5 high schoolers vape, a startling increase by 80% from just 2017 to 2018. E-cigarettes serve as a gateway tobacco product for youth, as teenagers and young adults who use e-cigarettes are almost 4 times likely to go on to use traditional cigarettes. 95% of smokers start before the age of 21. Flavored tobacco products are a huge part of this problem. Studies have shown that not only do teenagers prefer candied and fruit-flavored e-cigarettes, but they also perceive them as less harmful as tobacco-flavored ones. Almost 2/3 of youth that currently use e-cigarettes have used flavored ones. I believe that flavored e-cigarettes target youth. Flavor encourages experimentation, which leads to lifelong addiction and cigarette use, which we all know has very serious health consequences. We have a moral responsibility to protect our children and ban the sale of flavored tobacco products in the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Doctor. If you could state your name.
Thank you. Dr. Tomas Ruiz, I'm the Executive Director for the Southern California chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. I'm here on behalf of the best interests of our youth. I get calls from concerned parents all the time because their kids are addicted to liquid nicotine. In 2017, 11% of high school students were using it, 21% in February of this year, 2019. Cigarettes are marketed directly to children by promoting flavors, and 63% of those who use these products use flavored e-cigarettes. Nicotine is addictive, and we have a nationwide epidemic. This is not a social justice issue. This is a public health issue. I urge you to support a ban on behalf of the 1,500 pediatricians that I represent, a ban of all flavored products, flavored tobacco products in the city of Los Angeles. By doing so, you'll be setting an example along with the city of Beverly Hills, who's already done so, for the surrounding municipalities and eventually for the state of California. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, Carlos Leon, community organizer in South Central LA. I grew up in South LA, so one of the first concentrations that we had was liquor stores for a long time. The next thing that we saw was an overconcentration of marijuana dispensaries, legal and illegal. The latest thing that we're seeing right now is an overconcentration of smoke shops, literally surrounding our schools. We get calls, and we just did a report of over 4,000 people in South LA in the last 3 years that actually shows that the biggest harm thing that's happening right now is the overconcentration of smoke shops. It's not only a public health, it's a safety concern because you have a trifecta effect where you have those multiple nuisances within the area. The crime activity is increasing actually, and that actually criminalizes our community more. The last thing is displacement. People are literally willing to sell their house because they have not seen efforts made to destroy these nuisances instead of focusing on creating opportunities for our communities to thrive.
Thank you. If I could have Ilan Shapiro, Farid Zahareddin, and Marianne Lambert.
Council members, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm a pediatrician, I'm a city Angelino, and most importantly, I'm a father. I'm coming here representing our kids that we have in the community. Technology is amazing. It's something that we have heard that it actually improves. But when we hear e-cigarettes, it's one of those technologies that has come array for us. As a pediatrician, it's really hard to explain to a parent why their kids actually are smoking, but they're actually taking some type of machine. There's actually a poisoning their lungs using chemicals that are actually going to damage. Plus, when we know that when we have kids, they are actually learning. The brain actually, the nicotine and all the chemicals that we have there actually changes the chemistry and the movement of their brain. And that actually impacts and creates a lot of the addiction problems that we'll have on the future as adults. Then please think about the youth and the future of our kids here in LA. Thank you.
Honorable council members, thanks for having us. I'm one of the retailers. I don't think 1 minute is enough for me to express how bad this decision is. I would like to tell my friends at the Heart Association or any doctors that all the retailers in Los Angeles are against selling tobacco products to underage kids. We all have kids and we are against it. But at 21 plus of age have the right to smoke or to vape. And many of my friends, and including myself who smoked for 20 years, I quit regular smoking, which is a Marlboro Red, and that everybody knows that has 3,000 known chemicals to science, and I switched to vaping, which had no combustion smoking. I'm not going to use my minute just to talk about that. I would like to have a seat on the table. If that decision is going to be made, there is 4,500 retailers. That's hundreds of thousands of people that needs to be on that table to take that decision with you guys. We would like to be your partners, not your foes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I could have Marianne Lambert, Eric Previn, and Dean Kwan. Marianne Lambert, Eric Previn, and Dean Kwan.
Thank you. My name is Eric Previn, and I'm from CD2. And I understand Mr. O'Farrell has suggested a ban. I don't think that a ban is the right approach. I think everybody is united in the idea that the substances we're talking about, in particular nicotine, can be highly addictive. But when you ban just flavored products, I think it puts a weird civil rights component here. And the people who spoke articulately about being having unwanted consequences or unintended consequences by interacting with law enforcement for smoking a menthol cigarette feels like exactly the wrong thing. And I want to just say the following. Mr. Wesson smoked cigarettes. I don't know if he still does, but then Vanessa Rodriguez went to work for Juul, his chief communication person. And then everybody's taking money from Juul. I want to make it clear to the retailers that the solution here, this is kabuki theater. The solution is not to pay these council members with contributions to their office holder accounts to get a favorable decision. Because the people of Los Angeles understand that you're not going around banning developers, or it fails every single time, including your NRA ban. And I'm not for the NRA, but you can't use these offices for political purposes.
There's no ban.
Yeah, I know.
There's no ban.
I know. There's no ban on.
Thank you,
business
Mr.
city.
President.
You shouldn't do that.
You're done.
It's inappropriate.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Dean Kwan, a resident of Los Angeles County. I've been a smoker for a little over 20 years, and I've been a teacher for about the same time. Since flavored like vaping products have came out, it's for about a couple years. It's helped me to quit cigarettes completely. And with my line of work, I'm working in close proximity with a lot of people, and I feel it does have an influence on them. I work with college students. I teach college level chemistry and biology, and I think working in close proximity with people has had an impact on my my work. And since I used flavored tobacco products, it's helped me to keep my habit a little bit more discreet and away from the public. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Herman and Wayne. And that'll be our final 2 speakers.
(42 U.S.C. 1983). People have choices, and your first choice is to communicate effectively into the idea of what you decide and your choice. If you want to get high, measure 64. If you want to vapor, toke it and smoke it. If you want to smoke anything laced with nicotine, that's your choice. Fuck you politicians who fuck these businesses and fuck the people in the areas who have a demand for this, because you made that choice. You and those fucking assholes from Sacramento who fucking just want the money and want to tax. Poor fucking business people who put up their hard fucking dollar to put up with your fucking shit. And yes, it's not an idea of what you thought would work. Now you fucked up, and now everyone's outraged at you, and the outcry for them on their behalf is, fuck all you politicians in LA, and fuck Michael Fuhr and his attorney fees, you fucking rotten dick.
Thank you for that. And for those who've come to a committee meeting for the first time, or to City Hall for a first time, this is First Amendment rights, and everyone gets an equal time and equal minute to express whatever views, whether we agree or disagree. So that's expression of First Amendment. Just wanted everyone who might be shocked who came for the first time to a committee hearing or to City Hall. But thank you so very much for coming, for all of those in the audience. Last speaker, Wayne?
Yes. So I had a chance to look at this. Now, you know that somebody's getting greased. So who getting greased? And it isn't somebody running a vape shop. Oh, no. Because you want to ban cigarettes? We came up with vaping. We made multiple flavors. A man is 18 years old, and he can serve in the military, but he can't vape? Really? This is just nothing but racism. Current price, you'd be ashamed of yourself to let this shit go on. You should shut this down right now. Right now. No community impact statement. I know people sell this stuff. You got liquor stores down there south of the 10. They're making money now because this is a new industry. It's a great fucking thing. They're paying their taxes, they're law-abiding citizens, and they're not selling to minors. So I know these 2 racists over here don't give a shit, but I call on current price. Stand up for black people and no to this fucking ban.
Thank you. One last speaker. Herman, that's a warning for you, for your first and final warning. Please don't disrupt the audience. Jay Oku, last speaker.
Thank you, council members. Hard act to follow. You are driven by a purpose to serve your community, and I'm doing the same thing. We appreciate you. I'm from Coalition for Tobacco-Free America in Five Ponds. We're a manufacturer here in California. You know that 480,000 people die from tobacco-related diseases per year. That's more than AIDS, alcohol, car accidents, illegal drugs, murders, and suicides combined. The technology that this bill is against is undeniably a magnitude of order less harmful than combustible tobacco. We just ask you to sit with stakeholders, sit with the J.J. Jenkins and the business owners of the area, and come to a solution. The solution is to meet with the specialty vape shops who educate the consumers to break an addiction they've had for 20, 30, 40 years. And we do not appeal to children. We do not want children to use this. But that's why Prop 56 passed, and there's over $36 million earmarked towards enforcement. Let's look at enforcement. Let's look at so neither here nor there. The Yale School of Public Health suggested that restricting e-liquid flavors may discourage smokers from switching to a proven safer alternative.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And that satisfies public comment. That is everybody for public comment. And Mr. O'Farrell, I'm going to kick this over to you in a moment, but I just want to make a couple of quick remarks. First, I want to thank you for taking the leadership and introducing this motion. Tobacco use, without question, is the leading cause of preventable disease and death in the United States. And while cigarette smoking among teens has declined in the United States over the last couple of decades, the use of e-cigarettes among junior high and high school students has increased to what the CDC considers to be epidemic proportions. It is clear to me that the city, the school district, and most importantly, tobacco manufacturers and retailers have a responsibility and role to play in stamping out teen smoking. I do, however, want to make sure that we're not inviting the emergence of an illicit market for tobacco products as we've seen in New York and in the Bay Area with the restrictions or prohibitions we put in place. Whatever we implement in a city, it needs to be targeted, effective, and enforceable. Now, at this point, I want to call the city attorney to come on up to the table and then hand it over to Councilmember Mitchell Farrell.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, colleagues. Thank you, City Attorney's Office, and thank you for everyone who took time out of your day to come and testify and give us your feelings, your thoughts, your concerns, your ideas. We really appreciate that. I just want to start by repeating the only moving clause in the motion, which does not mention the word ban anywhere. I think there's been lots of misinformation spread just by the introduction of this motion, and that's unfortunate, because I think a lot of people have been driven by fear because of this misinformation campaign, but that's just sometimes part of the price of doing business here at City Hall. But what the moving clause says is that the city attorney be requested, with the assistance of the chief legislative analyst, to report on a proposed strategy to restrict the sale of flavored tobacco products to youth and young adults, and to further report on the way and means of how other cities are addressing this issue. I just want to say something. As the son of two parents who suffered early death from cigarette and nicotine addiction, my mother was 72, and she died of emphysema and COPD. She was hooked to an oxygen tank the last 7 years of her life. My father died of lung cancer at 63. Both of their parents also died of lung-related illness due to tobacco use and nicotine addiction. Back in the 50s, when my parents were teenagers, it was marketed widely and openly and freely because big tobacco had free reign at that time. And so an entire generation, you could argue, was lost because of this. So it is of importance to me personally, but also professionally. We know that in Los Angeles we have issues. We know that big tobacco and the electronic vaping industry, you talk about consequences. They don't care about consequences, unintended or otherwise. They care about profits. We care about the consequences. And it's unconscionable that we would stand idly by while this, you've heard it referred to as an epidemic, is increasing. It's just an all-new way of creating a new avenue for nicotine addiction to an entirely new generation. That's what's unconscionable. And as long as we have the power to do something about that and dissuade this type of use, especially when youth are targeted for profit at the expense of their own health and well-being, that is not acceptable. I will say that my brother, sisters, and I all have reduced lung capacity because of this, And I know that I'm not alone in that. So we have an obligation. We have a moral obligation, and we have a personal obligation, especially when we can do something about it, and we certainly can. Other cities that have added regulation regarding flavored tobacco include Berkeley, San Francisco, Chicago, the state of Massachusetts, New York City. And we know that the county is intending on adding regulation. In fact, there's regulation that's pending, and which will come up before a vote very soon. We know that the state has Senate Bill 38 to prohibit retail stores and vending machines in California from selling flavored tobacco products. It was referred to the Committee on Health in the Senate and was heard today. So we know that the state is moving as well. Also, it seems like the FDA is coming out with another report every week about possible additional restrictions based on this epidemic to youth and youth flavored tobacco products. So we look forward to hearing the report. We're simply calling for a report, as I mentioned in the moving clause of this motion. We will then deliberate on the merits of adding restrictions and regulations to the sale and marketing of flavored products to youth. I repeat, not a ban. That is a false misinformation campaign brought on by Big Tobacco. And we owe it all to ourselves not to fall for that, right? They just want to sell. And they want to sell at the expense of the health and well-being of everyone. And that's not acceptable to me. So, I really don't have, maybe City Attorney's Office, I know you're going to come back with a report and you're going to collaborate with the CLA on this. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the TEP, the Tobacco Enforcement Program, and what that would look like, and how that's already what you utilize to enforce the sales of the regulation of e-cigarettes, which we imposed some 4+ years ago.
Good afternoon, honorable members. My name is Selena Porras, and I'm the supervising attorney of Tobacco Enforcement Operations, which oversees our tobacco enforcement program. We do have this permit program in the City of LA. All City of LA tobacco retailers are required to have a city tobacco permit. We currently have about 4,800 tobacco retailers currently in our city. There's two main components of our program. We do enforcement and we do outreach. Under the enforcement prong, there's two mechanisms that we do enforcement, and that's through a civil administrative action. That's in partnership with the California Department of Public Health. We do undercover decoy stings to make sure that retailers are not selling to kids. And if they are selling to kids, then we do institute tobacco permit suspension. It's a 30-day suspension for a first violation that escalates to 90 days for a second, 120 for a third, or permit revocation for a fourth. We also have a criminal enforcement mechanism that's investigated through LAPD for retailers, again, that sell to youth, and that's through the penal code, and that can result in misdemeanor prosecution or through a diversion program. The second component of our program is outreach, and we do two main types of outreach. One is direct retailer outreach, and my colleague Nora Manzanilla, who is our program director, would be happy to provide more details as to the retailer outreach that we do. But we also do a very comprehensive youth outreach program, and that's in collaboration with LAUSD. We do everything from staffing student assemblies, speaking at parent centers, speaking to LAUSD police, staffing resource tables, health fairs, after-school programs, all to try to get youth educated about the dangers of tobacco use and nicotine addiction. We collaborate with the Department of Parks and Rec to engage with children and youth at youth events. Our goal is to reach as many youth as possible because it is an uphill battle. We are definitely outnumbered. We constantly have requests for more presentations, especially through from school administrators, because the problem isn't only at high schools. We are now seeing it at elementary schools, at middle schools. Administrators are calling us because of students vaping at school because they're confiscating the product. So we're trying to do as much outreach as we can to assist staff to provide resources for school administrators, to basically any adults that are working with kids, but also directly to the youth themselves. But again, it's an uphill battle because we are countering a much more prominent message that's put out there and the attractiveness of the flavored products.
So I'll talk a little bit. Oh, Honorable members, I'm Nora Manzanilla with the Tobacco Enforcement Program. So in November 2016, the California voters approved Prop 56, the California Healthcare Research and Prevention Tobacco Act. And through those funds, we are a successful recipient of those funds. But throughout, we believe that that would be a great mechanism for us to utilize a grant fund to educate and continue our education with retailers. The scope of work in the tobacco enforcement program always includes education, retail education, one-on-one education with retail outlets. We go into store outlets, we talk to them about the sales of tobacco products. One of the things we have learned is that there is a nexus between illegal sales of tobacco products and their proximities to school. So the closer you get to a school, the higher the illegal sales rate. And so we do, when we go out to a school and conduct a presentation, we very much go right outside the school doors because most parents will let us know this store is selling, this store is selling. So it is very, very important to us to complement the work that we do at the schools with the retail community and speak to them one-on-one. We provide information as the Stake Act signs, the appropriate information. We want to have a conversation with retailers about what behaviors they're doing and how it impacts the community at large.
Terrific. I really don't have any more questions at this point myself. Colleagues, what I will say is this. I look forward to hearing the report from the CA's office along with options and impacts, including your enforcement plan and the related costs, and please do report on marketing. I think that's a real important issue. We've all seen the billboards hawking menthol cigarettes in South LA. We know that in the Native American community, smoke shops were the thing because big tobacco really pushed it, because Native Americans are highly susceptible to addiction, especially with nicotine. That may not be such an issue in Los Angeles, but marketing of the products is how they hook people. And to hear that the reach now includes, elementary schools and children vaping, that's what I'm talking about as far as the consequences. And the consequences, they don't matter to these companies. They just care about the sale. And that needs to be challenged. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman O'Farrell. Councilman Price?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate your leadership and that of our colleague on this issue. This is something that impacts everybody, either directly or indirectly. Talking about our parents, my dad passed emphysema, probably smoked 40 years or more, Winston's and Salem's. That's how they did it in those days. And so he was a smoker to the end. And I do believe that research and education is just very important, especially as we shift to our youth. Let me just ask a general question, or ask: will the research be conducted as to the specific flavors that are being purchased by youth? Will that be a part of the study? Or maybe back up. Let's make sure that is a part of the study. Some discussion of what specific flavors are being purchased by youth and what the marketing efforts seem to be around that, using efforts to target the youth with flavors, colors, names, etc. I think that's going to be very important. It is, I think, several groups raised legitimate concerns, the SCLC, the Southern Baptist Ministers Conference, Law Enforcement Action Partnership, and others around the impact of menthol flavors. And so, again, I hope there'll be some focus in the report back on menthol-flavored products, and again, how that may or may not impact communities specifically of color. But I'm prepared to support the motion. I think that, as I said, information, education is paramount, and there are lots of folks on both sides of this issue, advocates and others, with legitimate concerns. And I think we should make sure we are weighing all the pluses and minuses before we make a decision. So, Mr. Chairman, again, thanks for your help on this issue. Thanks for bringing it to the forefront. It's something that impacts us all, and I think we all should be a part of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Price, and thank you, Councilman O'Farrell. I do have a couple of questions as well, but actually I'm going to take Councilman O'Farrell's lead and ask those questions after this report comes back. But I do want to add a couple of additional instructions, actually just clarifying a little bit more, as my colleague stated. So in addition to the initial motion, I want to request that the city attorney and the CLA report back with best practices from other jurisdictions that have adopted flavored tobacco restrictions or bans. I also want to request the city attorney and the CLA to report back on ongoing and proposed state and federal administrative and legislative action intended to prevent the sale and use of flavored tobacco products by minors. And actually, you guys don't have to write it down. We'll give you a copy. Also, I want to request the city attorney and CLA to report back on current advertising and packaging restrictions on tobacco products and the city's ability to prohibit or restrict the sale of flavored tobacco products that are clearly intended to target youth, as mentioned by Councilman O'Farrell. And also for CLA and CA to report back on the current penalties for those retail vendors who sell to minors, with additional options for additional enforcements or penalties. And lastly, as mentioned by both the American Heart Association and Councilman Price, request the city attorney and the CLA to report back on the prevalence, and I know it was presented in the various testimonies, but report back on the prevalence of the use of flavored tobacco and menthol products by minors, and any data indicating that flavored products and menthol is as a gateway flavor or gateway flavor. Okay. Any other additional? Did I cover all of the concerns? Great. And seeing there are no more additional questions or comments, this item is approved as amended.
Thank you.
Thank you. And public comment was satisfied, and all the other items have already been approved on consent. So we have no. Do we have any other business before us? No, right? So this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.